Hi, welcome. My name is Chrissy, and in this video I'm going to be giving you a channeled reading for today, the 11th of the 11th, which is Remembrance Day, and I thought it would be nice to just ask my guys to channel us a message and give us a reading. I've brought my great uncle John West here. He died in the First World War and he was only 19 and he got shot through the heart. So that's another sad story of all these young ones that sacrificed a lot of their own freedoms to help us with ours. So I'm just going to close my eyes and we're just going to get started and we'll see what comes through. Now, they're saying that today is really near and dear to most people's hearts. And it's saying that we all make sacrifices in life. And it's not that we suffer punishment. It's actually we sacrifice parts of ourselves to lead us to the next journeys in our life. Now, in relation to the 1111 portal, I'm getting images of freedoms, standing tall, not rushing, and being alive. And I think that's the sort of focus of the message that is coming through for me today, is that being alive is such a huge gift. A lot of us bypass these things, and it's kind of saying spiritually bypass these things as well. Sometimes we forget to enjoy life, and the sort of message here today is about remembering the sacrifices, thinking about the past, of course not forgetting about the past, and that's why we always try to remember them, but it's about also looking at the things that they did achieve back then and what things can we achieve now in our life. Now, these people had a huge impact on all of us going forward. It doesn't matter where you're living around the world. Wartime is always very challenging, and today is that day of really remembering what people have done in the past. But we've also got our own battles to fight as well. Even in this modern world, when we look around, there's so much going on at the moment around climate change and how we're going to be dealing with things moving forward. We've got battles with different cities around the globe that are, having freedom fights. And there's just so many little battles that are going on. We don't have to be going through a war to have internal wars within ourselves. This is about, the message in this reading is about the structure of society and how do we want to be living, and what plans are we making for our futures going forward, not only for our children but for ourselves. We want to have the rights to stay in those really sort of heartfelt, grounded places where we can live our life in freedom and just have our say. So I think sort of the message in the reading today is about really finding your strength, finding your power, and looking at where our lives are at today. It's very easy to lose sight of the directions that we're going. Sometimes things can seem insurmountable. So it feels like kind of jumping those hurdles and also trying to climb a mountain. It feels like the hurdles that we keep getting of late are becoming insurmountable. It's like we're running this continuous race of jumping over hurdles. It's showing me that sort of going around and around like an Olympic track and jumping hurdles, and there's kind of no end to it. It's just going around and around. And I think that's really what the message here is, that there is an end to this game. It feels like we're all sort of playing this game at the moment, and they're making a move, then we're making a move, then they're making a move, then we're making a move. And it's kind of showing this, well, when is all this going to end? And I feel that that's the real energy here on the 11th of the 11th. That's the energy that I'm feeling. It feels like we're stuck on this endless loop and this endless cycle. And I can feel that people are getting very exhausted. They're getting really tired. And they're wanting to make a huge shift to create changes in their lives. people, I think, are really overcome too by the enormity of the situation. Like, if we relate this to the guys that were faced in going off to war, I mean, we certainly can't compare some of our modern life to what they certainly had to endure. But there are similarities that run parallel, because these things seem just too enormous to face, as was their battle, where a lot of them, it was just a hopeless cause and they were just going to sort of jump up over the trenches and just get shot down. Well, that's kind of how a lot of us are feeling in this modern world at the moment, with all the things that have been going on in our own situations as well. We feel like we're being shot down and we're kind of not being able to use our voices. It feels like we're just being directed, and it feels like, how are we going to get through these situations? It kind of feels like we're powerless, is kind of the word that's coming to my mind. Powerless, insignificant. A lot of us have kind of got our hands in the air and we're kind of, what's happened to our lives? I think we're all looking back at how life used to be, and we had a lot of freedoms, and we could just roam around the country, and we could travel overseas and travel abroad. And this is not very easy anymore. I feel like some of the complex things that have been put into place have really turned people off gallivanting virtually around the countryside. People are staying closer to home. I feel like that's something that's very significant. The home has become very important to a lot of people during these really challenging times. So the messages that are coming through are about looking after your home, nurturing your home, looking after the people in your home. And that could just simply be that you're, like I said in one of my videos recently, you're really connecting to people. So you're having people over, you're going to friends' houses, you're just having these gatherings in these groups, because that seems to be more important than sort of venturing out. Yes, there are definitely people who need to go overseas and see their families or travel across Australia. I'm living here in Australia, so these are the kind of things that we're kind of wanting to experience, but it is a big hurdle for people to overcome. You know, getting tested before you get on a plane, getting tested, quarantining. These are kind of words that are very overwhelming for people, and it's sort of pushing people back to the point that they're not ready to kind of face, like I said, the hurdles. And that's coming back to showing me a picture of a big hoop, and it's kind of that jumping through hoops. So it's like training a dog. You've got to jump through all these hoops until you get your treat at the end. And that's how we feel like we're being treated. It doesn't matter what your choices are and what you're going through. A lot of us, in general, are feeling like we're having to jump through hoops in order to be rewarded. And I think that's not sitting very well with a lot of people. It feels very unnatural for us to be being directed through these kind of hoops. It feels like there's no play, there's no fun. It's just this boring kind of status quo, like we're going through the motions, but we're not enjoying the journey. So I think in this reading, the message is that you really have to start enjoying your journey. We're only on this planet for a very short time. Look at John here. He was 19 when his life ended. Unfortunately, he was probably conscripted, I'm saying, and had to do these things. And this is an example of when you're forced to do things and you don't have that freedom, it can be taken away from you. So it's something to just think about in our lives moving forward. We want to really stand and have these freedoms. We don't want to be jumping through hoops, because for the rest of our life we're going to keep jumping through hoops. So you've got to try and create these changes in your life. And I understand why people are staying put. It's very comfortable to actually just stay in the status quo and stay at home. And a lot of us, that has been our haven for a couple of years with what's been going on around the globe. We've all gone through these kind of scenarios where we've had to create that really great home space and just find those joy in those little things. And there's nothing wrong with that. And getting over those hurdles is going to be a process that I think is going to take time for people to build up their strengths, build up their lives again, and start to I guess you could say, kind of live again by expanding themselves, because we've all been very stunted. We've had so many rules, so many regulations. What can we do? What can't we do? And I personally have sensed, as well as what they're telling me, is there's a heck of a lot of confusion out there going forward in what can I do? What shop can I go into? Where can I go and eat? Am I allowed to do this? Can I do that? Even the vaccinated are confused as well. So there's a lot of confusion, I feel, at the present moment. That's something that a lot of us are having to actually deal with. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a quick cup of tea. Just getting dry. Now, they're showing me the gates have opened. So there's like these gorgeous wooden grand gates. It's almost like entering into this green, beautiful pasture of green fields. And it's like I can see visions of us kind of wanting to run through the fields and falling over, and like yellow flowers and laughing, and it's almost like something that you would see out of a movie. It's that beautiful sunshine beaming down and laying there and looking at the clouds drifting across. There might be one little cloud. And this is the message of that simplicity of life, because this is how we start to heal. If we don't start to heal these angst and anxieties and fears and things that we've been carrying for a couple of years now, most of us, and that's around all different areas and aspects of our life, whether it be job loss, whether it be just having personal problems, it doesn't matter what the situation is. A lot of us have just had the sort of rug pulled out from under us, and that's a feeling of real confusion and not knowing, and it's that very anxious feeling that we can sometimes suffer in our body. And that's why they're giving me these images of open those gates now and start to enjoy life again, because life is here to be lived. We don't want to be staying stuck in the energy that we've just left. We want to be moving really forward into that great sort of feeling of freedom and that blue sky and the, just running through the fields. It's a feeling of happiness. It's an energy of, your body's relaxed, your breathing's really good. These are the kind of things that they're guiding me to tell you, is to actually start to find purpose, find meaning. Look around you at the beautiful things in your life. We all have beautiful things in our life, and sometimes we completely miss them because of the ways that we can be feeling in our body, because that can cause us to shut down and not be open and receptive to things that we can be seeing around us as well. So that's definitely a message, is to open up that gate and just run. Like just running and start enjoying those moments. Lay and look up at the clouds. It's the simple things. I always talk about that a lot in my videos, but that is the message that they're giving you on this 11/11. And people are slowly finding their way. They're not having to look for direction as much anymore. I felt before people were really looking for direction. They were checking things out. What can I do? Where are we going? What's next? What do we have to do? Do we pull ourselves back? And again, it's that confusion energy. And I feel like now people are starting to make their own decisions, and they're starting to get back to the way of sort of what's going to suit them, and instead of harboring, like I said, the fears and anxieties in making decisions, they're starting to make decisions again for themselves. Because we don't want to lose all our decision making. Sometimes if we give away all our energy to other things, that can take our energy, and then we can't make clear decisions. So you've got to also start to think with that clear clarity of mind as well going forward in these really sort of what have been very challenging times. Now, messages are also going to be coming to you. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, but you're going to start receiving messages. Like I said, it's by that opening up of the gate that you're actually going to also start to receive messages. So sometimes we can close ourselves off to things, and it's just easier, like I said, to stay safe. But if you open up those gates in your mind and start to clear a way forward, you will start to receive things as well. So I feel like messages are going to start coming to you. You know, it might be via something somebody says, it might be something delivered into your mailbox. There's going to be messages that are going to be coming to you, and you've got to start to really see them now for what they are. Instead of dismissing things, I want you to really look, because sometimes these can actually, it's saying, can be our own creations too. We've put our mind onto things, and then suddenly something will turn up in the mailbox, or you'll walk past someone down the street and you'll think, wow, that was really weird. But these aren't. These are synchronistic events, and 1111 is very significant to synchronicity. A lot of people do receive these kind of messages. They have recurring numbers. 1111 is very common to the twin flame journey. There's a lot of spiritual people that do have recurring numbers. Number plates is another one. So I want you to really look out for your signs today and your signs and synchronicities tomorrow, because you might be getting a lot of them, and there is definitely messages trying to get to you. So watch out for those as well today. Overall, the basic message is to stand high. So they often give me the message of having that very clear perspective and looking down on things. Now, an example of this is sometimes when people have that outer body experience. So anyone who's been close to death, they often talk about how they were taken like up to the corner of the room, and they could see their body and people either operating on it or in the hospital talking to them. And that's a very common thing when people are kind of almost making that transition to death. It's like having that outer body experience where they can observe things from above. And this is a very strong message in this reading, is to start to see things from above. Now, it doesn't mean literally. It actually means that you've got to start to see things as a whole picture, because sometimes we only see things from our little perspective, and that's just a very small portion, whereas this person has their journey, this person's having their journey, and sometimes we cross over into each other's lives. And we've got to actually start to understand that everyone has their own perspectives and their own journey. And you've got to see things for the real situation. So it's almost like the message is to step back and actually assess things before you make an assumption. Because sometimes when we assume things, and there's a saying that it makes an ass out of you and me, being assume, that's how they break it down, is that it can make you look a bit foolish. So you've actually got to step back and assess things for the reality of what they actually are. So it's not that you're going above, it's just that you're detaching yourself and you're putting things into a much clearer perspective, because that will help you to make decisions from a clearer headspace, and it'll help you to work with that clearer thinking mind. Because sometimes when we just jump in and we're all go at something, we can miss some of the important messages or the things around us that we're meant to see, because our peripheral vision is just focused on like ourselves. And that's not being selfish, that's just and not being ignorant. That's about just having your blinkers on and not seeing like the whole picture and what's going on around you. So you've got to kind of assess, okay, and it might even be something, for example, I'll give you an example, is maybe around Christmas, when someone's can't come to your house, one of your relatives or something, or someone's got a new partner, or there's a bit of trickery around who's going to go to what house and all this sort of stuff, and you're only seeing that from your perspective. So you've got to actually start to respect and understand that everyone has their own perspective and they're trying to please other people. So this is where it comes into that, take your blinkers off and start to be more flexible and see things from that sort of higher perspective, that you know, it's okay and there'll be ways around these things. And look, that's just an example of the Christmas thing, because I think that's something we can relate to with Christmas around the corner. And that's something that does affect a lot of people. They really like to get together on that day, but sometimes it doesn't go to plan because that person might have to work that day and they're going to do it in the night. So these are the things I'm saying. You've got to start to look at things as a whole picture from above, not just your own perspective, because it'll just make you understand things more and you won't take things so personally and you won't be as affected as well. So that's definitely a clear message. And it's kind of saying like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And I think what they're saying is, don't wish your life away. Don't hurry and get to Christmas. Like, don't hurry and get into the next year. It feels like a lot of us are kind of thinking, oh, we just want this year over and done with, and we just want to get moving forward, and we want 2022 to be unbelievable and make all these changes. And I think you've got to actually stop doing that. You've got to actually get yourself back into that now moment, because what happens when we start going too far forward, we can create scenarios in our minds that may never happen sometimes. So then we can get disappointed. We can start worrying. And that's why living in that now moment is so important, because we're not living in the past and we're not worrying about things in the future. We're just here and now and enjoying this moment where we are. And that's a really strong message for this reading, is that you have to just stop hurrying and wishing your life away. Start enjoying your life at this moment in time. Be here, be now, and that is how you're going to start to enjoy your life, and you're going to start to heal from these challenging hurdles, like I said, that we've been going through for the past 2 years. And I know that's all around the globe. It's not just here in Australia. Yes, we've had some turbulent times, as I'm sure most of you have seen out there. It's almost been like a bit of a war zone, particularly in Victoria. They have certainly been challenged. But look, that is definitely the message. Just start to enjoy every moment. Like these guys had theirs ripped away, and they didn't sort of get that choice, but we have that choice. So really start to enjoy your life and find that peaceful place. Look, I've got many videos as well on self-help. If you're struggling with grief, any depression, sadness, sometimes this can be a very emotional day on the 11th of the 11th, Remembrance Day. So go and check some of those out as well. I know that they can help you. Subscribe to my channel. I do regular channel readings, and I have prediction readings as well for 2022 if you are interested in that. And hit those like buttons, and I will see you very soon. Least we forget.